Welcome back to Recorder on the Wall. We're in summertime and we're in between books. So what better else can we do than record food in not one but two episodes? That's right, folks. We're going to have two summer food episodes, and I've yet to decide if I'm just going to merge them or probably put them as two little ones. We'll see. I am your Papa Abbott host, Pete.
I am Katie, and it's really hot outside.
Yes, it is.
I'm Matthias. I am a puddle. Please help.
I'll get the wet dry back. And introducing on our show for the first time, one of our sibling podcasts, one of the new ones I've mentioned on our Twitter, the one our great older sister Myrtle brought to us. I introduced you guys, Foxpen from Fox Penmanship. Welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And since you're a visitor to our show for the first time, I do have to ask, who's your favorite book? Or who? What is your favorite book?
No. I'll answer that. Who is my favorite book? Well, I think Moral Fox. I do this to people on my show all the time. I always start with the same question. Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite story? And it stumps everybody, but I came prepared, sirs and gentle ladies.
I approve.
My favorite book is Moral Fox. I very affectionately call it the book that doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter at all in the canonology or chronology of Redwall. And my favorite character is, well, you know what? Let's stick with Moral Fox. I do love Songbreeze. Strong female character, doesn't take no sass from nobody, doesn't hook up with the handsome young squirrel boy that travels with her, and absolutely just takes over the Abbey in the most brilliant coup d'etat by just being awesome, basically, and getting stuff done.
And I love the joke she makes. Like, would you guys like a feast? Well, too bad. You're going to have to work really hard.
Josie noticed, just like, nah, son, you mine now.
In place of an abbess, you would have a queen, terrible as the dawn.
Squirrel chatter.
Yeah. Well, good to have you on our show. So, before we talk about our show, I want to give you the chance to talk about your show. What inspired you to make a Redwall podcast?
I started to make Fox Penmanship. Well, originally it started as the Redwall Survivor podcast, and Redwall Survivor is the writing competition, harkening back to the old Redwall Survivor contests from, let's say 15 years ago by now. Mossflower Odyssey. I know, man. I call myself the old guard. I don't know how old y'all are, but like I'm ancient compared to many of the younglings running around the Abbey these days.
37.
Oh, you
like
are
that.
old. Okay,
Oh.
easy. Penis.
31.
Quick. 31. You're a baby.
All right.
I'm just going to not say anything.
No, I respect that.
I can't tease you if you don't say anything. Well put. But so Mossflower Odyssey are the contests that are run by Aaron at redwallsurvivor.com, and basically they're a survivor contest for Redwall authors. There's a loose prologue that's delivered, and then you have character archetypes or tropes rather. So you have like evil male stoat, and then you write like an evil male stoat character, and that's your application in maybe 500 to 700 words. Or you have like the Cooper, and you get to write a character that just their job is a Cooper, but they can be whatever else you want them to be. They could be like a female mouse or a really ancient badger that doesn't have blood wraith, and so he's ostracized from Salamandastron for not being a freaking berserker. No plot. And so you submit your application, and if you're lucky enough to win your category, you're in the contest, and it's great. And then you literally, with several other people, you write an entire novel of a story. And every week or every other week, the audience, the readership will vote on who their favorite character is and who their least favorite character is based on the writing, how far you move the plot along, just generic, I like this character, I don't. And whoever gets the least amount of popularity votes dies. So there's your result. So yeah, we're playing for keeps here. I've written in a few of these actually. I was Gunnar the Fox in the Emperor's Decree 1, I think it was. It was a long time ago. Fox is very old. Her mind is kind of cobwebby. And I was Lumay in Mossflower Odyssey 2. And I was Nuna Hooten, Captain Nuna Hooten, the Owl, in Mossflower Odyssey 1, Journey to Karagul. And then skipped number 3 because I'm too cool. And then I came back for number 4 as Trajan the Black Whiskers in The Beasts in the Crater. And that was great. These contests can stick to Redwall as much as they want, as the writers want them to. They can be very, very Redwall-y canon, or they can just be like basically an anthro novel situation with allusions to Redwall. But yeah, so my podcast started as just like reading the applications out and doing silly voices. And the Redwall Survivor community really enjoyed that. So I kept doing it contest after contest. And then Netflix came along. And Netflix, everyone's really excited about the Netflix announcement with the series and the.
Netflix did come along, and now we're going to have a longer podcast than I had originally thought. Thanks, Netflix.
In our time. But yeah, so I changed from Redwall Survivor readership to Fox Penmanship, which is just now it's a generic Redwall and ROC, Redwall Online Community podcast, because I've been around the ROC since the late 90s, early 2000s. I've seen the ROC at its peak golden age. I've seen the fall of the Empire, and now I'm also seeing the restructure, rebuilding, and the new guard come up the ranks. So I created my podcast because I wanted to bring the community together and help keep people abreast of news and Redwall that's going on, and just basically celebrate a really wonderful fiction series with anyone that wanted to celebrate it. And to my delight, I've had quite a lot of interest in people wanting to be on my show, and now I'm on your show, so we've gone full circle. It's great. It's fantastic. We're winning.
So thank you, older sister Myrtle, for introducing us. You're welcome. So if you've not heard our running gag by this point, folks, we like to say Matthias's non-canonical sister from the first animated show is voiced like Dr. Girlfriend, because it's funny. But
nope, no one can tell you it's not canon.
Yep.
I mean, she's not a canon character to begin with, so
She's just no witnesses to say otherwise.
Wait, are you telling me Wild Ivy isn't canon?
Whoa, 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 whoa. We do not speak that name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What name? Wild Ivy?
Blasphemers.
I remember a couple weeks back I used our podcast tweet when someone asked in the Redwall tweet sphere, hey, what are you looking for on this new show? And I'm like, no Wild Ivy, and we're good.
Yes.
So weird why they introduced her.
I don't get half the stuff that happened in the first animated series, and it's very frustrating as a blind person because you're watching and you're like, wait, I don't remember this happening in the book. I don't remember this happening anywhere. I don't know what is happening.
Mm-hmm. As somebody who found this series because of the animated PBS show, the first time I read Redwall as a book, it was like,
you had the opposite experience.
Exactly. But then again, I was like 10, so it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tend to let those things go when you're a kid. I too I found Redwall, and on TV it was the episode Ragier gets popped, and I was just like enamored with this. I was like, did I just watch someone get like carked on TV in a kid's cartoon? I'm 10 years old. That's fantastic. Let's read this thing. And then I read Madame Ao before I saw the cartoon, and then I read Martin, and I never actually watched the Martin series. But yeah, I was just like, when I did get around to watching Madame Ao, I was like, who's this Wild Ivy? Did I like miss a whole chunk of the book or something? Oh my god.
Yeah, the pages were stuck together. It happens.
It's that secret chapter. You have to use a black light under a full moon in order to see it.
Speak friend and enter. Got it.
I thought it had to do with the Contra code.
That works too.
Up,
Enter,
up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
Start!
All right. So, by the way, where can they find your podcast?
Oh, you can find my podcast not on any podcast broadcaster, but on YouTube, because Foxy's a little old and doesn't know how podcasts work. So you just go to... I'll get it one day, you guys. Originally, I never intended to do a show, but recently I've been doing videos, so we're okay. We're at home on YouTube.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
YouTube, you go to Fox Penmanship or Redwall Survivor, Fox Penmanship. I'll come right up. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Fox Penmanship. And yeah, I mean, if you don't want to listen to the show, you just want to chill with me, I'm also on DeviantArt at FoxPen. I'm all over the internet.
I'm looking up the channel right now, live.
Live?
Yes.
My. All right,
I need more
then.
Redwall content.
Well, prepare for silly voices.
I'm very excited.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We need
All right.
Jeremy here to do that voice.
I know, I'm really bad at it. He is so much better. But, that being said, we made Redwall food. Because, of course, we did. And some of us copied other recipes. We'll get to that in a moment.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I want to hear how yours turned out. But here's what I made, at least for this week. And since we're doing a divided episode, I'll probably make another Redwall recipe before the end of the week.
Wow, you're very dedicated.
Yeah. Why else would I spend nearly 4 years of my life on a show like this? Oh, I've been podcasting too long. Jeremy and I have been doing this since 2014. So, yeah. Just not this show. So,
Wow.
that being said, I pulled out the actual Redwall cookbook. Now that I own it, I can't go to the Game of Thrones well anymore, like I've done in previous episodes of here. And I picked one out of their summer section because summer food. I did the Squirrel Mom's Blackberry and Apple Cake. Summer section, page 41. And yeah, just keep Nunky Bez away from this. But it's a cake made of both regular wheat and almond flours, eggs, various common ingredients, but it draws its core flavor from raw fruit you put inside. I didn't follow the directions exactly because, I'm a rebel, or I didn't have every ingredient I needed. So there's that.
Same.
So it draws its primary flavor from the fruit. I did put extra apple in mine, chopped it up, put it in the cake, and I also put in the cup of blue blackberries, not blue, that is requested. So I did have to make the primary modification I made to this because I didn't have apple juice. I forgot to buy some because I don't usually drink it for this to put in. So it had no apple juice. I just put extra water. Sorry, recipe writers. And I put stevia over regular sugar because I'm old and I have to know what I'm putting in my body. I don't have my child metabolism anymore. So, what came out maybe 3 hours ago. I totally didn't wait for the last day. But
Sure.
what came out was a more savory cake instead of sweet, which frankly suits me well. And this would be good with both a cold or hot drink. Even something from the cellars the Dibbins aren't allowed to have. Wink, wink. Oh, who am I kidding? Strawberry cordial in its original form is a light alcoholic itself, but we tend to ignore that on this show. So, we'll go figure. Matthias, I heard you made something I'm familiar with.
Yes, I made the Golden Hill pears that I somehow forgot that you made for last winter's food episode.
I was gonna say something, but then I'm like, well, maybe he just liked the look of them so much that he wants to make them himself.
After it being so good, it blew your mind.
Anyway, it's from the autumn section, page 67 of the cookbook. Very simple, straightforward, sugar, pears, and a little bit of allspice. And you can go back and listen to the previous food episode if you want to hear more details, but basically cut up pears and put them into a little bit of caramelized sugar and let them basically like steam or poach inside that covered skillet. And you get something that I would describe as very similar to like an apple pie filling, except with pears. Maybe it's just the brand of pears I used. I use Anjou pears. But I'm not a huge fan of like sour things, and they came out a little bit sour. So I took the edge off of that sourness with a little bit of whipped cream.
Sounds good.
And
Yes, it
that was
does.
really good. Yes, it is. So if I had some like French vanilla ice cream, I think that would have also paired very nicely. And strangely enough, I tried them both hot and cold. I prefer them cold.
Interesting.
Cool. That's
So,
less
I
work.
mean, yeah. If you've ever had just like leftover pie from the fridge, and it's just like, yeah, this tastes kind of different than it does when it's heated through, same deal. And I just happen to prefer it that way. Trying to think. Pete, when you did this, did you sprinkle the allspice into the caramelization mixture before putting in the pears, or did you sprinkle it on top of the pears after they were put in the pan?
On top of the pears.
Okay, I did the same thing. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I would be curious to try this recipe instead swapping out for apples instead of allspice using cinnamon.
I've actually done something pretty similar to this out of the Game of Thrones cookbook. Maybe in a previous food episode, but yeah, I've essentially made this kind of thing with apples before. It's totally doable.
Cool.
That's funny. You both use pears, and you're both saying they came out a little more savory than sweet.
I'm looking at my notes here, actually from last year.
Yeah.
I'd have to actually go and listen. I don't remember while they came out.
Well, let's just say I knew what's going on, and you use Anjou pears. They're great. They're easy to find in the grocery store. So are Bartlett pears. If you want a really, really sweet pear, try and go for a Comus. I'm not sure if that's actually how it's pronounced, but with a French accent, it is pronounced a Comus.
Je
And-
comes pears. Yes, it's bien.
de baguette. And just Comites if you're English. But it is such a sweet pear, and it's really, really juicy. So cut it up thick. Either put a little tapioca starch or a little corn starch or a little flour. Just toss the pieces in that so you don't get the drippage from the juices. Those pears are it's like being smacked in the face with a bag of sugar. Try one of those pears in your
That
recipes
sounds
next time.
delicious.
Nice.
Oh no, it's the best concussion you're ever gonna have.
Diabetic coma, here I come.
So, wait. I just realized. Pete did this recipe. I've done this recipe. Together, they make a pair.
Oh, no.
Oh, get out.
Jeremy isn't even here. And you're still doing it.
That's my podcast. Just get out, though.
See, this is the kind of things I take from my panelists. I don't know how what rules you set for yours. So.
Okay, the most dubious of puns.
All right, Katie, I think you were making something.
Do you call it making something? I don't know if you call it making something. I was so funny story. Work is insane, and when work is insane, the desire to cook leaves me very, very quickly. So I'm like, what's the most cop-outy thing that I could possibly make while still actually making something? And I came across the summer strawberry fizz recipe. I was like,
I
well,
believe
okay.
that's one of the two quote-unquote child-approved recipes in the book,
Yes.
right?
It definitely is. It does involve a blender, so there are blades, but you know.
Right.
So it serves 4. I divided it into a fourth of a recipe because I don't need 4 servings. It probably won't last very long. At least the fizz won't. And you know, so it's just strawberries, strawberry ice cream, which I did not have. I did have strawberry cheesecake custard. In the blender it went. I do not care. And I did not add the sugar because I don't need any more sugar than what's in the custard and what's in the strawberries.
Wise.
And then, yeah, and then you put seltzer water in after a little bit. It just tastes like a strawberry shake. Mine had a hint of cheesecake in it. But
I don't see a problem with this.
it was very refreshing. It was very refreshing on a summer day, and I have no regrets. So there.
Okay. I mean, as we pointed out during our last winter food episode, there are 2 recipes in the Redwall cookbook that are technically child approved and okay to do without adult supervision. Oh yeah, kids, I can just load up a blender here. But both of those recipes are basically sugar upon sugar upon sugar.
Yep.
Sucrose upon fructose among lactose, apparently. So, yeah,
This is
and
what
I'm glad.
really is. That's what Blood Wraith really is. It's just a bunch of badgers hopped up on the sucrose.
And it will leave them afterwards comatose.
No, I'm gonna let that one slide. So, very good. Okay, and then our guest Foxpen made a lot of food. Let's hear about it.
Okay, well, I made my own strawberry fizz, but because I am old, I made the Abbey Elder version, not the Dibben-friendly version. My version's alcoholic.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I do. It's
but-
still a lot of sugar in it.
By the way, I love the pictures of we got of your kitchen. That looks awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Even
so
your-
go ahead.
Even your pie thing, which looks like it has measurements for how big it is in centimeters.
Yes, I take my pie very seriously. I actually have over a dozen pie plates. Some are so old that I'm pretty sure there's like maybe like something chemically and shouldn't cook with it in the glass kind of stuff. And then I have so many pie plates. I take it very seriously. I get really into my crusts too. I like to do crust designs. I'll get to my deeper and ever turnip and tater beetroot pie later, but as you can see, I also like to dye my crust funky colors, which just
I
makes it fun.
did notice that. I was wondering if that was a side color from the beets or what that was.
Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go back to my strawberry fizz because I am very hopped up on sugar, and if I don't stick to task, I really love the idea of strawberry fizz. It comes up in all the books of Redwall, and it's always been that one thing I've always wanted to taste alongside meadow cream. It's just the strawberry fizz. You always see, it's crisp. It's a sweet summer wine. You have this touch of fizz to make it fun. It's the perfect summer drink. They always have it, and they're always so refreshed afterwards. It's so colorful that it's just beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And so my version is alcoholic. It does take a few months to make because fermentation is obviously involved. What you do is you take strawberry juice and you can either get the concentrated and then diluted version. But I'm crazy, so I like to take 3 to 4 pounds of strawberries and then I put them in a pot. And then I cover them with as much sugar as I have in my pantry, and then I cover that in water, and then I simmer that down, and then I actually just strain the berries out of that juice, and I use that juice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I add more sugar because you got to feed the yeast. You put it in a carboy and then you put it under a desk and you forget about it for about a month, for however long it takes to ferment. And then you rack it into a new container. And all racking means is you just take one liquid and in one container and you put it into another container to take it off the lees. The lees is just all that gunk, the dead and dormant yeast and all the sediment that sinks to the bottom of any fermentation apparatus.
Well, let's be honest. That yeast died happy. So.
And I mean, that's probably the yeast of your problems.
Oh, no.
I mean, Jeremy's not here. I have to fill in for him.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No one told me there'd be bad puns.
I mean, are there any other kinds?
Fair. So yeah, and then what you do once you've racked it into different containers, you add either more sugar or strawberry syrup, which again I do from scratch. You just take your strawberry juice from before and you simmer it down till it's literally syrup, and it's delicious. And whatever leftovers you have go great on crepes and pancakes. And you just sweeten your wine and you let it mellow out for a month or two. And then what you do to carbonate it, carbonating beverages is a lot of fun because it's potentially dangerous. Adult supervision required. Oh no, I am the adult. So what you do is just as you're bottling everything, so you're racking your sweetened wine into bottles, you add, depending on the size of your bottle, you add a little more sugar. A teaspoon usually is what does it. And then you cap it. And then you just put it away again to bottle age, or you can drink it right away. And if you're not drinking it right away, I recommend you put it in the fridge. Otherwise, you get what we call bottle bombs, and that means it's overcarbonated and it'll actually like shoot the cap off the bottle and make a whole mess. Or in rare cases, it'll actually cause the bottle to explode, and then you have a glass-filled mess.
That happened to a friend of mine once.
I don't doubt it. Like, it happens to every home brewer at least once in their home brewing career. It's a pain. It's disappointing, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing that could happen. Usually, if you have one bottle bomb, oh, I better put the rest in the fridge so that doesn't happen, and then that's how you just save it. And then I brew this stuff to drink, so I drink it before it becomes a projectile of glass and chaos.
That's good. Yes.
Yeah. And I also do a Redwall Abbey cider, which I just did a video of how to do primary fermentation on my channel, Fox Penmanship, coming at you on a YouTube channel near you. And instead of strawberry juice, you're using apple juice. And because apples aren't in season where I am yet, I use store-bought apple juice because, hey, it's cheap and why not? And there ain't nothing wrong with it. And it's the same process. You add your sugar, you add your yeast, you put it away and forget about it. You bottle it, you hope it doesn't explode. And then after a few months, you have delicious, bubbly, rustic apple cider that, I do gallon batches, so it saves me, a can of apple cider at the LICBO where I am, Liquor Control Board of Ontario, the LICBO as us locals call it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at like $3.50 a can for a tall boy, and that's just like, nah, man, I'll go make a batch for like $3.50 and have a gallon of it that'll last me a month or two.
That's very practical.
Yeah, it's great, and it's fun, and it's something to pass the time, and anybody can do it, provided you're of legal drinking age, but I won't judge.
We here on Record on the Wall encourage all of our listeners to try out these Redwall recipes with adult supervision, especially. And those adults need to be over 21 if you're doing any of the adult drinks. There, disclaimer over. You can't sue us.
I have just one question.
Yeah, shoot.
Tell me. So, these beverages, is the flavor explosive?
Well, let's find out. Yes. Yes.
Oh, so
Very
quite
nice.
literally, it's the bomb.
Now, before I throttle Matthias for making too many puns, and I will too, let's also. I notice you have another alcoholic drink here.
Yes, indeed. I like to brew, and this is the first time I've actually tried to do a Redwall-inspired beer, October Ale. Beer making is fun. It is a little time-consuming, so I like to take shortcuts. For this recipe, I use liquid malt extract rather than like mill my own malt extract, because that's like a day's worth of tea making and then concentrating. It's really, really simple. I'm going to take a taste of my cider here. Tastes like success.
Can I come over?
Yeah, absolutely. I got
I think you're probably, just by latitude proximity, you're probably the closest person, Katie.
Yes.
So yeah, for October Ale, what I use is you have your grains as with any brew, any beer. You have brewer's yeast. I used a wildflower honey brewer's yeast. There's chocolate barley in it. There's honey barley. There's Munich light barley, and then there's carapils. And then hops, of course, I use an ounce of Fugel hops, UK Fugel hops. And then same thing. You steep it all like a tea, and then you add your liquid malt extract. And hopefully it doesn't boil over, because it will make a mess of your stovetop if it boils over. It's very sugary, this beer.
There's an old Sam Adams ad here that runs in the States that shows, because apparently whether you're a janitor all the way up to the president, they make everybody spend a little time in the company kitchens learning how to brew, and it shows some poor woman working on this, and hers does boil over.
Yeah, it's happened to me before, and I have one of those annoying glass top stoves, and I literally spent a day scraping burnt sugar and honey off my stovetop because I needed to eat dinner.
I was going to say, your warning sounded like it came from experience.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of experience in running away from my creations.
I have.
Oh, so you're a mad scientist then?
Absolutely, that's what brewing is. You're dealing with a live subject, the yeast, and you're just slowly drowning it in delicious sugar until it falls asleep, and then you're drinking the alcohol that it has farted out.
Lovely.
I mean, she's not wrong.
No. Also, I found that boiling water and baking soda will help get that nasty stuff off the stove. Because I have
Yes.
definitely not boiled things over before, ever.
Of course not. And please ignore the ice cream truck that's in outside the window. Thank you for interrupting.
Ice cream! I haven't seen an ice cream truck in like a year and a half, man.
Blame it on dry ditch fever.
That's what we do.
So yeah, October ale, beer in general it takes a lot less time than a wine or a cider or heaven forbid a mead, which will take you months. It's usually ready. You take it out of primary fermentation in 2 weeks is typical, and then you can just put it right in the bottle, and then you can carbonate it by adding the sugar, and then you leave it for another 1 week to 2 weeks until it's fully carbonated, and then it's ready to drink. And my October ale turned out really nice. It's like a honey brown ale. It's refreshing and flavorful. It's got a really nice sweet malty profile. It finishes really crisp on the tongue. It's almost lager-like.
Mhm.
And selected hops, the hops that I use, the Fugel, they add a nice bitterness for balance. So not actually a huge fan of hops, IPAs. I know they're trendy right now, but I'm over them. But this beer turned out really, really nice. It'd be a lovely autumn beer, actually, to have sitting around a campfire maybe, or just chilling in the Great Hall or the cabin hole, curl up to a nice giant badger mum, and then just like fall asleep with a cup of honey brown October ale in your pod.
Just don't do it in the library because otherwise our resident librarian will beat you.
I will.
With a nice pint of October ale.
Just away from the books.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Another recipe I made. A really quick one before I get to my piece de resistance, the pie. I do meadow cream. Because it's just in the book. It never really describes what meadow cream is, so you're kind of left to assume it's either whipped cream or it's clotted cream, and meadow cream can be either, and I like to do both the clotted and the whipped version. But my meadow cream, my really quick one that I do every spring, is it's a really nice sweet lilac flavored whipped meadow cream. I'll go out, I'll pick up 2 cups worth of lilac flowers. You take off the petals, you put them into a cup of sugar, you shake them up every day for about a week, 10 days, and then you have wonderful, fragrant, tasty as heck perfumey lilac sugar. And what you do is you get your heavy cream and you whip it up till it's just about to be whipped cream, and then you add your lilac sugar to it and you keep whipping it until it's about the consistency of butter, not whipped cream, but butter. And then you have this lovely, heavy, lilac scented and flavored sweet cream spread. And it just goes so well on scones in the morning on a nice spring day. It's such a well recipe with the lilacs in it, and it's fantastic. All you need is the flowers, and I mean lilacs, they have a very short span. They're like blooming for 3 weeks in spring. But if you have any edible rose species, you can do this sugar with the roses as well.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, blueberry leaves, same thing. I don't know where y'all live, but here I got Labrador tea leaves that just grow out in the forest. You can put pine nettles in it and get a pine sugar that's really good. Just be careful, ladies, if you're eating pine. There's a lot of terpenes in there. All women know the risks of that.
Well, I'm in Missouri, and we tend to see a lot of wild blackberries, so that might be worth trying.
Yeah, absolutely. You can even use dehydrated fruit and put in the sugar, and they'll take on the flavor of the fruit. So yeah, either use the berry leaves or the dehydrated berries themselves. Fantastic idea. So a really good recipe that I love because it's cheap and it feeds a lot of people, and visually it's a great spectacular dish, is my deeper and ever turnip and tater and beetroot pie.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Bird I saw best when we got in there at the Abbey. dish. It's hearty, it's affordable, it's nutritious, it's a good plate to serve on a cool autumn evening after a hard day of tunneling out vermin. It's colorful. You can adapt the ingredients really easy, or substitute them depending on the taste. Basically, you make your pie dough recipe, and I don't know about y'all, but mine's really simple. 1 1/4 cup flour, 1/2 cup frozen butter cubed, tablespoon of sugar, and then I like to add, for me, because I'm special and I really like to color my dough and I like to make it really flashy, a teaspoon of powdered beet. And it gives you this really nice magenta look. And actually, as you're working with the dough, it's going to look like ground beef and it's not going to look appealing. But once it's cooked, you have this wonderful magenta color, and it's fantastic. And you just take all your ingredients, your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your turnips, your taters. I use leeks and onions and mushrooms and carrots and parsnip. And you chop them up and you roast them in an oven. And then what you do is you boil potatoes in the meantime and you mash them up. You throw in cream cheese and an egg. So you have this kind of a mix of glue. You throw them, the vegetables in that. You mix it all up. You put it in your pie dish. And then you bake that. And what comes out is this amazing vegetable pie that just will feed you with a single piece. So it really can be stretched, and it's so hearty and delicious. It's fantastic recipe. I just figured that one out just by basically using what I know about pie making, and then just going off the name, turnip and tater beetroot pie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are my Redwall recipes. They're nice. They're simple. They do tend to take a little while. You need a little patience for the fermentation, but Redwall has inspired me a lot in terms of my cooking, and it made me experiment a lot.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned me because I do have a cousin who does brew that. I didn't know it could take quite that long, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, the honey. It's the honey.
No, that makes a lot of sense given how sugar dense that is.
Yeah, mead, so my strawberry fizz, my Redwall Abbey cider, primary fermentation is usually done in about a month, give or take. My mead can be anywhere from 2 months to 4 months before I get back into secondary. And then I like to bottle age it too, because mead is one of those drinks that it needs to mellow. And the older it gets, the better it gets. And you could have mead that's 50 years old, and it'll be like the best mead you've ever had.
Nice.
That's coming up in our slightly spoilers for Doomwhite, but that mead makes an appearance in Doomwhite.
Wow.
Well, we won't be getting there just yet. I mean, not immediately.
I need a drink, man.
Okay, well, that was a lot of good summer food, I'd say. And I love the look of this pie. I'm not going to lie on that. It's...
You rhymed.
Not intentionally. I mean, it's especially since you mentioned tunneling with the whole vermin tunneling. I mean, if you're going to run out of porridge from plugging that hole, this seems like a good substitute.
Yeah, I love the moles. Like their food or tubers. Everything comes from the ground, just like them. It's adorable little touch to their characterization.
And it's still the crime Brian never made an abbot or abbess of the Abbey and Mole. It really is.
I just don't think they'd want to. I think they have more. They like to do the more practical, day-to-day, like hardworking stuff. Not that an abbot's not hardworking, but it's a different sort of thing. It's more academic.
It's behind the scenes stuff that they prefer rather than the administrative side.
Yes, and there are exceptions like Egbert, but in general.
Yeah. Egbert, I think he's actually the only outlier to that mole trope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds like this is all making me hungry. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, hungry. Definitely hungry now.
Fortunately, I ate before coming, so...
Smart.
Yeah. That was very smart of you, sir. So, until next time, here's where you can find our podcast. This will be on recorderonthewall.com is our primary website. We are available on Twitter at ROTWPOD is our Twitter, and our email. I was about to do the full email. ROTWPOD@gmail.com. We love listener feedback, whether it's Twitter, whether it's on iTunes, that I am totally just now not calling up to check our ratings at the moment. But although we do have some episodes on YouTube, I've been a very lazy abbot in actually getting our entire group out there. So, sorry. Sorry on that.
It's okay. I
the-
call my podcast, but it's a blatant lie.
We're on the
So-
subreddit and the forums as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
When
So
I
would you-
remember to post there.
Foxman, would you say you have less of a podcast and more of a vodcast? Maybe?
I'm not going to give you that one.
Thank you.
I like her. Please
I
come
like her
back
too.
soon.
Oh wow, we've jumped in ratings and reviews here, guys.
Do we have any new
We
actual-
do, so I'm gonna have to read their names on the air, and oh my god, I feel guilty because it's been 3 months. These guys had posted.
Naughty,
We
naughty
have-
Pete. Naughty, naughty.
We have 3 new text reviews, guys. We have from Tris Marigold, says that we're funny people, and from the Deep Coiler, they read. The Deep Coiler reads. Okay. We have that they just started rereading the series during quarantine, and it was great to listen after the show after reading. And we have from Snow Silvercat, saying that they picked up this podcast a while back and have almost caught up. The Redwall series is near and dear to my heart, and getting to revisit childhood novels is a real treat. The commentary, thoughtful discussions, and running gags make this show a real joy to listen to. Cheers.
Aw.
You guys are great.
We love you, listeners. Please rate and review us.
I mean, given one of our other reviewers all the way back in December of 19 was frickin' Nadaz.
Yes, and now we have the Deep Coiler, who, by the way, is not a pike.
Yes.
You're never going to live that down, Pete. Never.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. And Foxpet, just if you weren't aware, I ran a trivia episode last year where I wrote the questions and made a tactical stake about the difference between a fish and a pike, and it cost the leading team the game. They have not forgiven me.
That's I don't know what to say, man. That's something
It
else
happens.
there. It's a
It happens.
Redwall podcast. You got a Redwall fact wrong.
Yeah. I know.
Get
I'm a
out.
terrible nerd. Okay. I guess this is someone else's show now.
My show now.
Well, in place of a Pop Abbott, you have a queen. Terrible as the dawn, treacherous as the sea. Yada, yada, yada.
You get any little vixen on the show.
Never trust a vixen.
So, folks, that being said, we'll see you for part 2 of the summer food episode. All right. We'll see you later, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.